View from the Sidelines, international special episode, joined by good friends, Gatesy and West Ham online. First of all, Gatesy, welcome, mate. Forge from Irons, go and follow his page.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent content on there. Him and Duke doing good things, and
Thank you.
I must admit, some of the content they're putting out is, I must admit, it's definitely watchable, 100%. Right on YouTube. West Ham online. He does like podcasts on Spotify and all that. West Ham online. Where can they find your fire stuff?
They can find me on, as you said, on Spotify, the Who podcast on Spotify, and you can find me on Instagram, West Ham Online.
Well, that's good, mate. Right, lads, we're here to discuss the England team for the next 3 games. We've got San Marino, Albania, and Poland. I just want to get your thoughts, lads, on what you think. And basically, I will go through the team position to position, and we'll discuss it. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start between the sticks. Goalkeepers, we've got Henderson, Pope and Johnstone. Who do you reckon will start as England's number 1, basically, for the first game? Rob, I'll hand it over to you first, mate.
Who do I think? I think it should be Pope. Who do I think it will be? I think it will be Henderson.
Who is your number 1 for England, Rob? If you was to
Pope.
pick, like
Pope.
As in
all day long and twice on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think he's the best goalkeeper. I know there's this modern thing that, they've got to be good with their feet, but if they're good with their feet and they can't keep the ball out of the back of the net, it's not really much good, is it?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. I think he's a great talent. West Ham Online, what do you think of the goalkeeper situation for England?
Well, I think in the first game it will probably be Johnstone or Henderson because we're playing against San Marino. And let's be honest, with Vladimir you in goal, we'd probably end up beating San Marino. Not to disrespect them, but I think their best player is a postman. So, I'd start Johnstone in goal against San Marino, give him a bit of an international cap. But I do agree with both of you in the sense I think we've had more discussions about Nick Pope in the last 2 weeks than I've had hours of sleep. And I'm a huge fan of Nick Pope. And for me, he has to be England's Jordan Pickford's mistake.
Yeah. Well, I sort of gathered what you were saying there. Because you keep cutting out. But out of all the England goalkeepers, obviously you got Pickford in there, you got Henderson, you got Pope, you got Johnstone. I can't really think of anyone else really. Maybe
Alex
McCarthy. Who's the 3?
Rams.
Would you? Yeah. Who's the 3? Would you say that they take to the Euros this summer, Rob?
I got a funny feeling he will go back to Pickford. I just got a funny feeling that he's probably looked at Pickford's form of late and the fact that these 3 games, let's be honest, 2 of them, you'd think all we need to do is turn up and we win the game. The Poland game might be a bit of a different thing, but I've just got a funny feeling because Gareth Southgate traditionally is someone that's he tends to stick by players, and I've just got a funny feeling that when it comes round to the tournament, because whether you think that Pickford should be the number 1 or not, the one thing that none of those 3 goalkeepers really have is the experience of playing in a World Cup or a European Championship match at the tournament proper. None of these 3 have been between the sticks in the tournament. Pickford has, and he's been in the World Cup semi-final. I think that experience will probably get him a place at least in the squad. Maybe not necessarily as the number 1, but certainly I think he'll be in the 23-man squad.
So out of the 3 that we've got on show here at the minute, who sort of misses out?
Is that sorry to me or?
Yeah, to you, Rob.
Oh, sorry, he's dropped out, has he?
Yeah, he's dropped out.
I think the obvious candidate is Sam Johnstone, and obviously we discussed it on the Forge from Iron stream that we did yesterday. You know, I'm a fan of Sam Johnstone. However, I don't see that if Henderson keeps his place as the number one for Manchester United, I don't see that he's going to drop him unless he has some alarming drop in form. And if he does, then he's going to get dropped from Manchester United anyway. Nick Pope is, for me, he's certain again to be in the squad. Whether he's the number one, which I think he should be, or not, remains to be seen. So I think of these three goalkeepers, the one that's probably going to be the one that's more than likely than not going to drop out so that Pickford comes back in would probably be Johnstone. I
agree with you on that 100%. I think Pope's top class. I really do. I think he's wasted at Burnley. It's harsh on him, isn't it? Like, he's in an era, Johnson, where he's got. I don't get the Jordan Pickford one. I just don't see the fascination in him. He's all right, but
he's got a mistake in him, isn't he? That's the thing. Yeah. I think the thing that gets him a lot of the game time has been the fact that out of the goalkeepers that have been in the squads most of the time. I mean, if you go back, you had obviously Pickford, you had Pope, and I think at the World Cup, I think was it Jack Butland that was one of the three goalkeepers. Well, out of those three goalkeepers, the one that you would say has the better footwork and distribution is Jordan Pickford. Is he the best shot stopper? Not for me.
Yeah, I agree. So what we're looking at then, really, if they're all fit, you're looking at Pickford, Henderson and Pope, ain't you?
I believe that's what he's going to go with. Again, it's dependent upon, obviously, none of them getting injured and none of them having some calamitous dip in form. So those things aside, I think it's going to be Henderson, Pope and Pickford. But which one actually is the number one? Like I say, if it was me, it would be Pope.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think Pope's brilliant. I can't. It's hard, really, because I think if he goes and plays for a top team, you start seeing. I think he becomes number one. If that makes sense. Let's see if he's returned.
Good evening, lads. Try to.
He's back in the room. That's good. West Ham Online. I'll get to you, mate. Right, you got Pickford, Henderson, Pope, Johnson, McCarthy, probably Carl Darlow in there and all somewhere. Out of all them goalkeepers, what three go to the Euros this summer?
Yep. For me, it's Pope, Pickford and Henderson. I think Pickford's obviously one that's rated highly by Southgate. Whether you think he should be sponsored by Head and Shoulders or not, Southgate does rate him. Pope is my personal pick, as I've said, for the goalkeeper, and I also think Henderson has a lot of potential. I think it's quite an easy selection for me. Yeah, I agree with Andy. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
do you think though, if Henderson and Pope go to, if Henderson becomes number one at Manchester United, and Pope goes to a bigger club than Burnley, out of the two, which one would you say he's got the more chance of becoming the number one over Pickford?
I'll go with Henderson just because he plays for Man United, so they always seem to have a bit of bias. And he's good with his feet, which Southgate seems to like. But when it comes to shot stoppers, Pope's the best for me.
Rob?
Completely agree. Couldn't have put it better myself. I think that if Pope went to a top six club, I mean, let's look at it. Is he going to go to Manchester City and displace Ederson? I don't think he is. Is he going to? Could he possibly replace Lloris at Tottenham? Yeah, I think he could.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Could he go to Liverpool and displace Alisson? Probably not.
Yeah.
Could he go to Arsenal and displace Leno? I think he certainly could. So I think he's got options, but it's
I'll tell you a place where he could go. Right, and I didn't know this goalkeeper was 34 years old. But then saying that, with goalkeepers, it doesn't matter how old they are. Yeah, Leicester.
Kasper Schmeichel,
Kasper Schmeichel. I thought, but then Kasper's been there for.
Yeah, he's been brilliant this year as well, James. To be fair,
he's been there for years, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right with Pope. It's just such a shame that he's in an era of like goalkeepers that. Personally, if I had to pick the two, I would go for Henderson because I just think Henderson's got everything. Do you know what I mean? But I do like Pope, I must admit. So yeah, we'll move on to the defenders now. First of all, I want to go to West Ham Online. When you look at that, which one stands out the most to you, West Ham Online?
I can't quite believe that's the list of defenders that Southgate chooses from when we have the people who aren't in the squad and you see names like Eric Dier, Benjamin Calamity Chilwell, and people like that. I mean, I can't believe the people he's left out. For me, Konza should be in the England squad. I'm a huge fan of his. And I think any Villa fan will tell you he's better than Tyrone Mings. Eric Dier, as I've said, he's a calamity at the back. I mean, I'm better at defending than him.
Off the top of your head, what defenders are missing from that from the England defence? Obviously, Gomez is missing. Off the top of my head, who else is missing? Trent Alexander-Arnold is missing from there. Now I'm trying to think who else is missing from that our sort of starting.
Maybe. Do you think
Wan-Bissaka
could be in there?
Yeah, possibly Wan-Bissaka. But after that, it's
I think centre back's our weakest position, James. If I'm honest.
Now I'm going to chuck a name at you that, and I think he's not a bad defender. Michael Kane at Everton.
Yeah, decent enough.
Yeah.
Is he any worse than Dier? I don't think so. I think he's. Do you know what I mean? So, and if
how about James Tarkowski and Ben Mee? Either one of them?
The only thing with Tarkowski is pace kills him. If you're up against pace, but I'm just trying to go through through a few defenders. And I'm struggling. Obviously, Gomez is missing for us.
Yeah,
he's one of the top defenders, and obviously you got Stones and Maguire there. Who else is there? Is anyone in Leicester?
Until fairly recently. Sorry.
Lewis Dunk. Yeah, that's a good shout. Lewis Dunk. He's a good defender. Don't really get a lot of mention. Go on, Rob. Take it away, mate.
I was going to say, until fairly recently, I mean, he's dropped out of his club team of late. But I looked at Rob Holding and wondered whether he might be, if he carried on getting minutes for Arsenal. Because I've got to be honest, every time I saw him play, he actually did quite well.
Yeah. I think what I can't understand with it is the reason why Dier's in there. Is it because he's like a utility man sort of thing? He can play in multiple positions, or is he because he's best mates with Harry Kane?
No, yeah, I think it's because he played a bit of Scrabble with Southgate at the World Cup. So he just gets a bypass every year now.
If off the top of your heads here, the pair of yous, and I come to Rob first, is there anyone that should be in there who for the Euros? Is there a player that I've missed out or who we haven't said who could be going in there?
Until the last game or two, I might have been able to make a case for Aaron Cresswell. Because, and I know this isn't going to be something that everybody sort of is going to say, well, you should pick an England team on the basis of this. And I'm not for 1 minute suggesting you should. But there's the Premier League's own fantasy league thing. There's 194 defenders, and Aaron Cresswell before the Arsenal game was top. As I say, I'm not for a minute suggesting you pick your England team based on Fantasy Premier League, but out of 194 defenders, he was ranked number 1. So I think he should have at least had consideration. I don't think that, and look, he didn't have a great game against Arsenal. All the goals came down his flank. But as I say, for whatever reason, he's been the top defender using that metric this season. So as I say, I think he should have at least had consideration. But I think most people, especially not West Ham fans, if you'd have said Aaron Cresswell for England, I think most people would have gone, "You're joking, aren't you?" But
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, do you know what? I agree with you there, I must admit. But saying that, on Sunday we see the real Cresswell, sort of, or the old Cresswell, show his ugly head sort of thing. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he ain't in the England team. West Ham Online, is there anyone in that team that we're missing that should be in there, that we're not mentioned or said?
I'm going to put Paul a bit of a wild card out, actually, lads. And I'm going to say Tomori, who's currently at AC Milan. He's been brilliant at Milan, and I've never actually seen him have a really bad game. I think he just fell out with Lampard. He's got all the attributes to go to the top, and he looked brilliant against United in the Europa League as well. So I was a bit surprised to not see him in there, to be honest.
Good shout.
Yeah. Is there anyone? I'll come to West Ham Online first, right? If you're picking the team, out of all them players, what's your 4 or your 3?
Yeah. I'll personally play a 4, but I don't think Southgate will. And then I'll quickly chuck a fun fact at you that I don't know if you knew this or not, but personally my 4, if we are to play with that, would be Shaw, Stones, Maguire, and Walker. But I just don't think that is the best we've got. I think the best players are not in the squad.
And who's the best players who's not in the squad? You got Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Off the top of my head.
Gomez, Trent, possibly, as I've said, Tomori.
Yeah. I think is that the best centre half pairing that we have at our disposal, or does Mings come into this equation?
No,
obviously, you're not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan of Mings, but can I quickly tell you, I don't know if you knew this, but did you know Aston Villa's goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, not played for Argentina yet? He can actually play for England.
He can play for England.
Yeah.
Residency.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that. But believe me, we've got about seven keepers. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So what about you, Rob? If you was picking that 4 or a 3 there, what's your 4?
I'll go with a 4. I think I would probably go with Walker right, Shaw left, Stones, and I think I'd probably go Maguire. If I was going to go with a 3, though, and as West Ham Online said, I rather suspect that Southgate might, then I would probably go with Stones, Maguire, and Coady. Because Coady has a lot of experience of playing as a centre-back in a back 3 for Wolves, more so than the other 2 guys. So he would understand that system a lot better than those 2.
Yeah.
Is it just me that thinks Dier might start?
It's not just you that thinks Dier might start. I mean, but to be fair, we could probably get away with it against San Marino.
Says it all, doesn't it? It just says it all when you got a man who's playing against a team that's ranked 7,000th in the world. You know what I mean? But,
just before we move on, it's just something I heard on the radio today. Not anything to do with the defenders or anything. It's just sort of like a more general point. If you was an international footballer and you had a choice between winning one cap for your country, but you had the choice of doing it in a competitive game against San Marino or in a friendly against Brazil, what would you choose?
Friendly for me.
Brazil for me, yeah. Friendly.
Same with me.
Friendly,
yeah, same with me. But they had a conversation. I think it was on TalkSport, and Darren Goff was saying, "I'd rather play in the competitive game against San Marino," and I'm sitting there thinking,
Well, I'm sorry, but that's just delusional. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least you can say that you played against. At least you could say you played against one of the best country for football on the planet.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like San Marino, mate.
Postman Pat turns up.
It's just basically a hill in the middle of Italy, San Marino. That's all it is.
Postman Pat and his cats in goal. Right, we'll move on to the midfield. Right. Now, this midfield is light as anything from what I've seen. There's no Grealish in there. There's no Henderson in there. West Ham Online, I come to you first. Who else is missing from that England midfield, mate?
You've said Grealish, Henderson. There is a couple I'm not thinking of at the moment. I don't know. Maddison, yeah. It is a bit... God, I thought it was a bit better than that. Is it? I mean... I'm looking at those names and I'm thinking, Christ, how are we going to win the Euros? but I think at the moment my midfield with that would be Rice, Foden, who I'm a massive, massive fan of, and God, you might even have to go for Bellingham or Mount. A bit depressing, but God.
Rob, is there anyone that's missing out of there that we haven't mentioned, or like so to speak?
Yeah, we've covered Henderson, we've covered Grealish,
Maddison.
Who else? Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm probably struggling beyond that to sort of think of a player that could potentially pull on the Three Lions that either isn't there or isn't injured, to be honest, or that just blatantly isn't up to par. Although then, why is Eric Dier in the squad? But I think you answered the question. It's probably because he's Harry Kane's mate. He's probably quite pally with Gareth Southgate. And he has that thing of the versatility where, you know, because although he's a centre-back a lot of the time for Spurs, he can slot into this midfield group as well. So, yeah. I mean, I think, listen, I mean, he's had a decent footballing education. I mean, he was at Sporting Lisbon as a kid. So he's had a decent footballing education. And obviously he did, you know, he scored the penalty in the World Cup against Colombia, didn't he, in the round of 16 that got us through. So, but yeah, not for me. Sorry. Just, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Can I ask both of you a question here? And I'll start off with West Ham Online. Now, I know this lad's only young, and I know he's gone to Dortmund in Bellingham. But does this man get in the team if he's playing for Birmingham? Because, like, I just want to ask West Ham. Do you know what I mean? Because he goes to Dortmund, he's all of a sudden in England, like, he's overgone the under-21s, or under-23s or whatever it is now, and gone straight into the England full team.
This is what you're right, James. It's that big club bias again, isn't it?
Yeah. What about you, Rob? What do you think on that?
Yeah, but then if he's got the quality that he's, no disrespect meant to Birmingham, but if he's better than Birmingham in a way and better than the league that they currently find themselves in, and obviously Birmingham have got a big money deal slapped on the table by Dortmund. The player wanted to go. The club wanted to sell him. I mean, the stupid thing was they retired his shirt number, don't forget. That was just like, he's played about half a dozen games for you, for Christ's sakes. What are you doing? But listen, I actually rate the kid. I think, you know, yes, he's gone to Dortmund. Would he have played for England if he was at Birmingham? Of course he wouldn't. But he's gone there. It's a great career move for the kid, and he's ripping it up in the Bundesliga. So for me, he's got this place on merit.
Right, I'm gonna ask West Ham Online this, and I'll hand it over to Rob. Right, out of the players what's on this list now, what players go to the Euros and what players don't?
I think Rice and Foden and Mount and now is on. In my opinion, if I'm looking at that list now, I don't think Lingard will end up going with the players returning from injury. I just don't think he'll end up going, but I hope he does. I really do. Bellingham is a tough one because he's been in the last two squads and that was a fully fit squad, but was that for experience maybe? I'm going to say Bellingham won't end up going either. And I think Ward-Prowse actually will end up going, and Phillips will as well.
And who comes in to sort of take the people's places, West Ham Online?
I think Maddison comes in for Lingard, natural one there. I think he's higher in the pecking order at the moment, unfortunately. And then Bellingham, I think, will just fit an extra attacker in, bring back Grealish, obviously, who's injured at the moment. So I think that's the natural one for me at the moment.
Rob, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I think Grealish is, if he's fit, he's nailed on to go, in my opinion. The thing is with Grealish is he's got the beauty. He can slot in at midfield, or he can slot in if Southgate decides to go 3 up top. He can put Grealish wide, cutting in. So again, you can sort of fit him wherever. I think, Ward-Prowse, for his delivery, his free kicks, beautiful. For me, he has to go. Rice nailed on, Mount nailed on, Foden nailed on. Lingard, do you know what? If he carries on the way he's going, I mean, he's got 5 goals in 7 games. If he carries on at that trajectory, I think it's really difficult for Southgate to ignore him. I know what you're saying, West Ham Online. If Maddison comes back, it's probably a shootout between them. But I mean, Maddison's got to come back and he's got to hit the ground running. And if he doesn't, I think Lingard could pip him. I really do. Bellingham, do you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if he goes, because it could be like what happened all those years ago when Ericsson took a certain Theo Walcott, that he took a wild card. He took a punt. He never played. He never set foot on the pitch for a minute. But it wouldn't shock me. I've seen it before. Phillips, I'm not too sure on. I don't think he goes. I don't think he goes.
Really? I think he'll go for it, because I think Rice there is the only natural defensive midfielder. I don't even think Henderson is naturally.
Well, that's who I was going to say. That's who I was going to say would probably come in at his expense. To be honest, I think the moment he's fit and he's played a few games under his belt, as I say, I think Gareth Southgate's usually someone that's quite loyal to his foot soldiers, his generals, if you will. And I think he's one of them. I mean, he's a captain of a Premier League winning team. He's a captain of a Champions League winning team. He's gone to a World Cup. As I say, he ticks all the boxes, I think, as far as Gareth Southgate's concerned. As I say, I'm not saying that I'd pick him, but I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of Gareth Southgate. And I think that if Henderson comes back, I think Phillips' place is gone.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask Rob this first, and I'll hand it over to West Ham Online. You're picking the team. Who starts?
Rice, nailed on. Foden, for me, has to. Again, the beauty with him, same as Grealish, is he could actually slot in as a midfielder, or he could go a little bit further forwards and play as the attacking trio. Oh yeah, play a 4 up front. Why not? Whatever. But yeah, I mean, he could play either position quite happily. Again, same as Lingard. Lingard could push a little bit further forwards. But no, I would go Rice. And again, if he's fit, I think it would be Rice. I think he's probably going to go 4-2-3-1 at the World Cup. So if we're talking about the World Cup, I think he'd go Rice and Henderson as the 2 deep lying midfielders.
Before I go to West Ham Online, I'm going to ask Rob this. Do you feel, though, Rob, that there's a lot of them players there? There's not really many Rices there, right? And when I say Rice, it's like a solid defensive midfielder sort of thing. They're like, when you look at that, when you look at them, they're all, yeah. And like when you look at maybe Ward-Prowse is a midfielder, and he can play as a midfielder. But apart from that, they're all attacking, ain't they? Near enough. Obviously, Calvin Phillips can do the job, but you know what I mean? Is that a problem, do you reckon?
Yeah, probably. Again, this is where I think Henderson, if he comes back fit and gets some minutes under his belt before the season finishes. I mean, if he comes back with like 3-4 games to go and plays in every minute or virtually every minute of the remainder of the season, I think he's in the squad, no doubt about it. But you're right. I mean, but as I say, the truth of the matter is, again, in my opinion, Declan Rice is a one-off. My opinion is, if Declan Rice comes out of the England squad, God forbid, due to injury, our chances of winning that tournament have dropped massively, in my opinion.
Well, I'll ask Rob this quickly, and then I'll move to West Ham Online. Simple yes or no answer, Rob. Does Lingard go to the Euros?
If he carries on this trajectory, yes, he has to.
All right, mate. Nice one. West Ham Online, you've got to pick the players out of that for starting. Who are you picking, mate?
In big games, I'd personally go Rice, Henderson and Foden. I think you've got to find the balance, and Henderson's got that energy that you need alongside Rice. And in the first game that we're playing, Czech Republic, they've got a midfielder. I don't know his name. He scored a hat-trick tonight, and he's got a lot of energy, and we're gonna have a tough job of keeping him out of the game.
He likes potato salad, I hear.
Yeah. He's really good. I think we should sign him up, to be honest.
Is there anyone there, West Ham Online, who basically won't be going to the Euros?
Yeah, I think personally it's between Bellingham and Phillips and Ward-Prowse. One of them three won't go to the Euros. But honestly, I'm looking at a couple of the names on that list, and I'm thinking, God, James, Rob, how good are you two in Sunday League? Because we need another midfielder.
My left knee shot to pieces, mate. I couldn't do it. I'm less mobile than Mark Noble.
Give me the last 90 seconds of the game. That'll do. All right. I'll ask you this then, West Ham Online. Lingard, yes or no? Does he go to the Euros?
I want him to, and as Rob said rightly, the way he's playing at the moment, he has to. But well, it was a one-worded question, so no at the moment. No, I'll go no. All
right, mate. All right, that's cool. Well, moving on, we're gonna get to the front line now, and this is the front line: Calvert, Lewin, Kane, Rashford, Sterling, Saka, Watkins. Right. First of all, let's all look at Watkins there. He's come to Villa this season, got his first call up. West Ham Online, what do you think, mate?
Well, I think it will be his last call up, if I'm honest. Yeah, I don't think he's England level. I'm a big fan of Watkins, but I don't even think he's better than Patrick Bamford, really. And yeah, I think when we get Grealish and Coady back, who are usually on those wing positions and players like that, Watkins will be saying bye-bye to the England squad, unfortunately for him.
Do you think it's harsh on Bamford, though? Because Bamford scored a lot of goals this season for Leeds. And right, what's he got to do to play for England?
Yeah, he's different as well, isn't he, James? You know, Bamford's style of play is completely different to anyone on there. Whereas Watkins is a bit of a pace, you know, get down the wing, hold up play. He's not too dissimilar to Calvert-Lewin, and I think Bamford's a bit different to those options. But maybe, as I say, Watkins is better at Scrabble, and that's what Southgate's looking at the moment.
Right, before I go to Rob, out of the strikers what's on there, first of all, who'd you pick? Obviously, I would assume that you're going to go with Kane automatically to start against any of these teams. Who else would you pick, mate?
Oh, yeah, I'd go with Kane. At the moment, I'd go with Kane, Sterling on one wing, and I'd personally go for Rashford on the other. But you can make a great argument for Sancho when he's fit, and I don't argue with those people because I think overall, in the way he plays football, Sancho's a beautiful player to watch, whereas Rashford's more of a great finisher. Rashford's shooting technique is different to anyone in world football, and I think he's stepped up for England in the past, seen in that Colombia game, for example, and I think Southgate might trust him because he knows him from that World Cup. He knows he's probably pretty decent at Scrabble, and he'll have his trust at the moment.
So, and finally, before I hand it over to Rob, out of the strikers what's on there, who goes to the Euros and who's not going to the Euros, and who's going to come back in, basically, when they're fit?
Kane, nailed on. Rashford, nailed on. Sterling, nailed on. I think Saka will go, just because of his versatility. He can play left back, left mid, subs, bench, in the car, up front, wherever you want him. Watkins isn't going, in my opinion. Calvert Lewin, I think, will go. But yeah, I think Watkins is the name that I look in that list, and I mean, he's going to have to score 52 against San Marino to even have a chance.
And who for you comes in?
Well, you're looking at Grealish and Sancho, aren't you? They've got to be back when they're fit. They'll be back in the squad. So Grealish for Watkins, and I think we'll take a midfielder or a defender out for Sancho because of Saka's versatility. You can consider Saka a defender, a midfielder, or a forward.
Yeah. Do you know what? You're not far wrong there, mate. Rob, hand it over to you, mate.
Well, I think it's fairly safe to say that the England captain's got to go unless he's injured, which, taking off my West Ham specs for a moment, obviously I hope he's fit because, again, same as Rice, if he's not in the squad, our chances have just nosedived for doing anything in that tournament. Kane, as West Ham Online said, nailed on. Rashford, nailed on. Sterling, nailed on. The other three, not so much nailed on. I do think that I agree that Saka's versatility might see him going to the tournament. I don't see Watkins going. Calvert Lewin, maybe. You could make a case for him. But yeah, Jadon Sancho has to be a contender once he's fully fit. And if he can get fully fit, I don't know what the prognosis on his injury is. But if he's fit before the end of the season, then I think he's almost certain to go. But another player that I'd consider would probably be Mason Greenwood.
Yeah, I agree there. I don't understand that one. I understand how Watkins is in and Greenwood, who I think is a talent. I do rate that lad a lot. But yeah, it makes no sense to me.
I wonder if it's anything to do with the incident that happened. Was it in Iceland a month or two back with Foden? Because I don't think he's had an opportunity since. I wonder if it's maybe a little bit of the after effects of that. But again, if that's the case, well, Foden got in.
Yeah, but I think Foden's responded to that. Foden this season has been absolutely unbelievable. Greenwood's stats this season have actually gone a little bit downhill. I have no doubt that he'll come back to the levels he was at the end of last season. But for me, I actually think personally, James, not to disagree with you, but I think it's sending the right message to Greenwood that he has to step up his game to get in that squad. And I think eventually he will get in the squad.
Rob, I'm going to ask you this, mate. All right, what's Bamford got to do to get in the England team?
Put in a transfer request and go to Manchester United. Let's have it right. We all know, okay?
Yeah.
If you play for one of them top 6 teams, Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, right? They're your top 6. You play for them. You're English, you're half decent, you're probably getting in the squad. And that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. If you take the same player that's half decent, let's have it right. If you put Eric Dier in a Burnley shirt, does he get in?
Very, very much not. I'm just going to bring this comment up here because Nick's made a good point. I know he's injured. Lamptey.
Why not?
Nah, not for me.
Why is that?
I do agree with Nick that he's a brilliant player, but you've got to remember in that right back spot alone, Wan-Bissaka, Matty Cash, Max, there's so many right backs there that aren't even getting a look in. And I do agree with what Nick's saying, but Lamptey's been injured all season, and you can't just risk a right back like Lamptey when there's Trent, who's not even in the squad, for example, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and players like that.
Yeah, I think they're the next two cabs off the rank as far as right backs are concerned, because you've got Trippier and Walker in the squad. And like you say, you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, you've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I mean, we've got a lot of right backs, and like you say, you've got also beyond that Matty Cash, Tariq Lamptey. So that's 6 right backs that you could make a case for essentially. You're only going to take probably 2 right backs, aren't you? So there's 6 right backs fighting for those 2 spots.
Is there any other strikers that both of you can think of that could make? See, look, Nick makes a good point yet again, and I do like this geezer, but it's just a shame he's got a massive injury. I thought he was brilliant for Leicester, totally class, and he made them tick. But I think he got like a cruciate injury, and it just knocked him for 6. Yeah. You know what I mean? But going back onto the striker front, is there any strikers that you two can think of who should be in there? Like, obviously, we said Bamford, we said Greenwood. Is there anyone else who you could have a case for in the Premier League?
I wouldn't say Danny Ings should be in there, but he was in the last squad, wasn't he?
So you're just going to say Ings?
Yeah. I'm happy with it, to be honest, the selection.
Yeah.
Up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then, mate. Well, that's all right. We'll wrap that one up for that, and we'll move on. All right, so that's the squad, and this is the first game. San Marino.
Should we start?
Do you know what? Nick makes a good point there, yeah. I like Vardy.
Think about saying him, but, he's knocked it on the head, and you've got to respect that.
Yeah.
But he would be absolutely
20
different.
See, the thing is, I agree with you, Nick. I think Vardy's top draw, mate. I like him. I like what he brings, the way he presses. Yeah, he's top class.
Yeah.
But going on to San Marino, right? First of all, I'm going to ask you one question, and I just want a yes or no answer. Do San Marino score a goal against us?
No.
Rob?
if they do, then we need to hang our heads in shame, because this should be just so one-sided. It's just not true. If we don't win minimum 5-0,
Can I ask you both a question?
Mm-hmm.
Go on, mate.
If we lose to San Marino, is it the biggest upset in football history?
Yes.
I would say so. Say so. Like, you got, if you were to calculate the millions of talent in that England squad, it's about £1 billion of talent, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're looking at that San Marino side, that, you know what I mean? Their capital is a big hill. Do you know what I mean? So
Postman Pat up top. I mean, if we lost to that.
Right, West Ham Online. Give us a prediction of what you think's going to happen on this one, mate. San Marino.
Oh, it's going to be embarrassing. Hopefully we get to somebody delivers the mail to the England players on the pitch, because I'm sure we'll be seeing a few postmen, a few electricians. 9-0.
Yeah, Nick's going for 5-1. Nick,
I mean, if they score, Nick.
Yeah, they score, mate. It's curtains all around. Trust me. So what are you going for, West Ham Online? Scoreline, mate.
9-0. 9-0.
You're going for a 9-0, yeah. So basically, yes. Rob, what do you reckon, mate?
I'll go 6. I think they'll frustrate us at first. They'll just get 10 men behind the ball, and they're just going to sit really deep, and just be an absolute pain in the butt. So I think they'll frustrate us for a spell. And then I think obviously our quality will tell. We'll get a goal, and then it will go 2, it'll go 3, and I think we'll probably get about 6 or thereabouts, and then you'll probably start to see a lot of changes being made positionally, substitutions. Gareth Southgate will probably go, look, the game's won. I can have a little tinker here and do this, do that. I think that obviously there'll be the natural thing that can sometimes creep in, where players know the game's won, and even subconsciously they just take their foot off the pedal for a bit. So I'd say about 6 6 is about right, give or take.
6-0. Nick says here, good point. Do you want to see Rice start from a West Ham point of view with fatigue?
Certainly not against San Marino.
If anything, I'd rather him play against San Marino because he ain't got to do a lot of running. Like, if anything, if he used to play against San Marino, I'd rather him do that than against Poland or Albania, who we're going to get onto in a minute. I think it's massive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, James, I mean, let's just, and again, I hope I'm not tempting fate, so I'm going to touch wood. If Rice got injured in a game that was, let's be honest, although it's a World Cup qualifier, or European qualifier, it is pretty much meaningless. Hang on, is it a World Cup qualifier? It is, isn't it? I'm getting...
Yeah, World Cup.
Yeah,
it's all right. Because it's all out of sync because of COVID and all the rest of it. So, but how would you guys feel if Declan Rice got injured in a game that, although it's a competitive international, let's be honest, it's meaningless?
Yeah.
How would you feel if he got injured and was out for the rest of the season?
Oh,
devastated.
Disgusted. I mean,
exactly.
This is what I say.
Go on, mate.
It's like Poland, you can sort of see, like, obviously we'd be so annoyed that he's injured, but Poland's a game that I want to see Rice playing in the respect that I want Rice to start in the Euros. I want to be proud to watch a West Ham player play for England. And I think if he plays for Poland, it's a sign of that, if that makes sense, because whenever we've had a big game with Rice since he ditched Ireland, he started it. If he gets injured against San Marino, I mean, it's a game that I should be starting, so I'd be really annoyed about that.
Personally, I think it's bang out of order that they're doing it 9 games before the end of the season. They could have waited to the end of the season, and basically, as we used to have friendlies on the tune-up before competition, like internationals, we could have chucked a couple of them in there. Do you know what I mean? And just done it then, but. Do you know what I mean? And basically, if he gets injured, it's good night. It's good night for the season because we don't do anything else. But I mean, but yeah, as I say, Nick says, I promise you, end up being disappointed. Thank God, he's from Zimbabwe. He's Zimbabwean. He said, if he gets injured, you're not getting into Europe in the story, and I agree with him.
You're right, Nick. 100%. If
And
God forbid Declan Rice gets injured against San Marino, we're gonna struggle big time.
And he said Moyes won't put in force. Oh, I think he means 4 hours in. I think he means 4 hours of force on it. But going back to San Marino for us, 6-0, 9-0. I'm going to say 7-0. I think England will. Well, if they don't, if it is anything under 5-0, it's an embarrassing. With if you was to if you calculate the money that they're all worth, pound for pound, you're looking at about £1 billion of a talent there. Do you know what I mean? You got like £100 million Kane. How much is Rashford worth? 70 million, 60 million. Like
Eric Dier, £5.
Eric Dier, buy one get one free. You know what I mean?
The Scrabble board that they use.
I'm
sure he's a lovely fella, but just no.
Now this game is the one that I fear because these sort of teams like to get in rough, and you know what I mean, and like to leave something on you sort of thing. Rob, I come to you first, mate. Albania, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I can see it being a bit of a physical encounter. I can see them, like you say, leaving a little bit on, trying to sort of make a name for themselves. You know, I'm the guy that studied Harry Kane or whatever. You know, it's a story that they can tell their grandchildren. Listen, we should take care of this lot. It will probably be a game that's not terribly pleasing on the eye, I would imagine. I would suggest I could possibly make a case for them scoring, but I think it will be a comfortable 3-1.
3-1. 3-1 for Rob. West Ham Online.
This is reminiscent of the game that we played against Czech Republic in the end of 2019 when we lost 2-1 and their centre mid from West Ham got man in the match. But Albania, I mean, their best player is God, I think Albania is one of their best players. I know he can't hit a barn door.
He'll probably score against England, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it will be tough to break them down. I'm going to go 1-0.
What was it? No, it wasn't. It was Kosovo, wasn't it? Who we played before, and they give us grief in the last one. Yeah, I think 3-0 this one. I think it'd be comfortable. I think if we can score early and then we just play counter, and that's what it'd be basically. The only thing I fear with that one is they're like a rough and ready team. They like to get stuck in, and do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones, and that's the only thing I fear with injuries and all that. And do you know, you were saying about if what Nick was saying about Rice getting injured, I fear about Lingard getting injured. That's the man I fear.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I think with Rice, obviously I agree if he goes, but then if Lingard goes, then we're definitely in trouble. What Nick was saying was, he said Kenyan Api Forson is the next big thing from the academy. The youngster, I see him play the other day on West Ham Online. Is he the next big thing?
They're saying he's the next Kante, isn't he? I mean, the one thing I hope he doesn't have from Kante's game is his touch, but everything else, I mean, yeah, next Kante, we'll take that. I mean, usually we're getting the next Benny McCarthy's and things like that. So, yeah, I can't say I've ever watched him, if I'm honest.
And he's saying that Ajeti is Swiss.
Oh yeah, he is. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
He's of Albanian descent, I think.
Sorry, Nick, we can't get the staff these days. You know what I mean? We can't get the staff. You know what I mean? Moving on to Poland. Big game, this one. Obviously, Lewandowski. I'm not sure if he's still there or not, but they've still got some decent players in their ranks. Do you know what I mean? West Ham Online, I'll come to you first, mate. What do you make of this one? Who should be watching out for, etc.?
Well, Lewandowski is the best striker in the world. Simple as that for me. I mean, his record this season is looking like it's going to be the best league season of all time. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's what it's on course to be, and he's not slowing down with how many games left now in the Bundesliga? 7-6. I mean,
yeah.
God, obviously watch out for him. I'm sure Alan Repser from Twitter will be eagerly watching this one, and it'll be interesting to see if Fabianski starts ahead of Wojciech Szczesny, because that's quite a rivalry that they seem to swap and change quite a bit. Aside from that, I think Kamil Grosicki will get a game of West Brom. He's not exactly a brilliant player, but one that has played in the Premier League. So,
what about Milik? Is it Milik? Is it? He used to play for Napoli. He's not so
bad.
It'll
be interesting whether he starts, won't it? Because I'm not saying he's anywhere near Lewandowski, but he's similar in the fact that he's tall, target man, got a good touch. So I'm not sure if them two work as a partnership. I can't say that. I don't remember them two being a great partnership. I think it's mainly Lewandowski who gets the majority of Poland's goals. So, that will be a really interesting one to see. And I hope we win, but I think Lewandowski will score 2-1 England for me.
Rob, I'll ask you this, mate. Lewandowski or Kane? You got a choice between the pair. You're the manager. And you can pick either one of them. Who'd you pick, mate?
I think Kane is about 5 years younger, but Kane's injury record in the last couple of years is a bit of a concern to me. He seems to he's getting a few injuries of late. In terms of pure goal scoring, I think Kane's a fantastic goal scorer, but Lewandowski has to win that contest for me.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think he's. You know what? I've always said that about Lewandowski. I've always said he's the best striker in the world. Like, for what people say about Kane's the best striker in the world, but what's he won? And you say that, and the conversation goes stone dead.
Yeah.
Not knocking Kane, even though I don't like Spurs, and we all don't like Spurs, and we all don't like him to a point. But you've got to respect him as a striker. Yeah. And when I look at Lewandowski, I look at him. If I'm manager, I want Lewandowski in that team, because he's good at everything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What do you reckon on this, Rob?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people think that Poland are a little bit of a nemesis for England. Yet you look at the record, we've only ever lost against them once, and that was in 1973. So it's a bit of a strange one why people think they are a bit of England's nemesis, because really they're not. We're their nemesis, especially given that this is a home game, I believe, isn't it? This is at Wembley Stadium. Am I right? Yeah.
I think so. I assume so. Yeah.
Again, I'd like to think that home advantage is going to play a slight advantage to us, although obviously without the crowd there, that may be less than it would otherwise be the case. 2-1 England. Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't know. I just think Poland are this sort of team that, like, they don't stop going, and
they're hard working, aren't they? They're hard working.
I don't think with the team that we've got at our disposal, like Lewandowski against Stones and Maguire, I think you'd fancy a bit of that. I'm going to say a narrow. I'm going to even say 1-0, mate. Like, I think it's going to be tight as anything, because they're just no mugs. They know how to defend. Yeah. They've got a couple of good players in their ranks. That there's probably players there that we're not thinking of, but obviously
Glick's a decent defender.
Yeah, he plays for Leeds. Obviously Milik. You got a couple of other players in their ranks that we're probably not even thinking of. Who, you know what I mean? And they're going to be well organised. They always are, Poland. Like, they're always that sort of tough nut to crack. So I'm going to say a 1-0.
Well, but, the thing is, James, you said about Glick from Leeds. I was even talking about Glick from Monaco. So that's two good players to have in one who we forgot. So, they have got some decent European pedigree. Yeah,
I agree, mate. I just think I think it's going to be an hard one to assess, really. But moving on, obviously, once the international break finishes and we all get back to some sort of normality with regards of the Premier League, I just want to have your quick thoughts on basically the pair of you quickly and what you thought about the result a couple of days now since the Sunday's match with Arsenal. I'll start off with Rob. I know you don't like to speak about it, mate, but now the dust has settled, how do you feel?
Let's be honest. If you'd have offered most West Ham fans before the game a point, I think most fans would have gone, do you know what? Not the worst result in the world. But in the context of the game, you're 3-0 up at home. You're absolutely flying for the first half hour or so. To relinquish a 3-0 lead at home is quite disappointing, to say the least.
Yeah.
But again, looking at the bigger picture, as I say, we're 5th, 49 points. We're still in the hunt for the European places, and maybe even the big one, the Champions League, could be in our grasp if we get the results. Who knows? But yeah, look, is your glass half empty? Is your glass half full? It's one of those, isn't it? And the thing is, listen, we've seen both sides of the coin this season. We've been 3-0 up in a game and been pegged back to 3-3. We had the game against Spurs where we were 3-0 down, and we're the ones that did the comeback. So, you know, we've experienced both sides of it. It is what it is.
West Ham Online. Nick's not at me. He says the Arsenal game was disgraceful. You just got to give it, before West Ham. I'll get West Ham Online in on this. You just got to give them a bit of credit. Right, Arsenal are a good team, and I know it's hard for us to admit the difference with the Spurs game with us to the Arsenal game on Sunday is we've done it in such a small amount of time. It was do you know what I mean? This was coming from the moment they scored that their first goal. They was literally camped in our box. So it wasn't like they sort of blitzed us for like a 10-minute spell sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? But West Ham Online, now the dust has settled, mate. How do you assess it?
I mean, the first thing I want to say is you could say quite rightly so, but a lot of the pundits have been saying we wouldn't be in the position we're in with the crowd. Now, the question I have for those pundits is, would we have bottled a 3-0 home lead with the fans in the stadium? And my answer personally is I don't think we would. So there's both sides of the coin there. But on the result, I think Gatesy's completely correct with what he said. Before the game, I would have taken a point, but in the manner it happened, it's a bit, I mean, Jesus Christ, 3-0 up. I think in most football games, when you go 3-0 up, you're like, right, let's get the tea on, sit back, relax. Unfortunately, that was the complete opposite. I mean, they were absolutely dominating us for an hour, and it could have been more, couldn't it?
Yeah. See, the thing is, I look at it like another way. Maybe it might be a blessing in disguise. Like this point might win us 3. Like this point might win us 3 points in the next few games, or so to speak. Because when next time they get in that situation, they will go back to that game and go, right, what we done there didn't work. We're going to do something else. Do you know what I mean? So, was I disappointed? Yeah. I was more disappointed with the Antonio miss. Like, I won't lie about that. Like, because if he puts that away, it's 4-2. It's good night. It's 3 points, and we'll go on the European tour, as I say. But I think, in the grand scheme of things, we can look at it and go, you know what? It's a point earned. It was a great game to watch. Like the emotions of going through that game, and I think we've just seen the front four that we've always wanted to see. Obviously, like touch wood, that Rice and Lingard come back fully fit, no injuries, no niggles, none of that. Then the last 9 games,
Fabianski, because don't forget, I believe he's with the Poland squad, isn't he? So,
yeah, I agree, mate. He's another one. Like he's massive for us and all. Scott's in the house. Hi, Scott. How you doing? He said, "Evening, gents. Evening, chaps. Sorry. Late to the show. I'm going for a 5-0 against San Marino. Lingard hat trick." Well, if Lingard gets an hat trick, mate, that price tag's going up. And Nick said, "If I'm honest, we wouldn't have been in the same position with the fans, but for some reason, they don't mention the fact that a lot of the other clubs wouldn't be in their position."
Exactly.
Yeah. That is
We're
true.
not the only ones behind closed doors. So
yeah, I like Nick. Nick, make sure you carry on commenting soon, mate. I mean, it's good to have some comments from people. But moving forward though, like forget the Arsenal game. That's done and dusted now, gents. Right, moving forward to the Wolves game. Right, before we sort of come to wrap it up in a minute, how would you go into that Wolves game, Rob? Like now, like obviously everyone comes back fully fit, no injuries, no niggles.
Yeah, assuming everyone comes back fully fit, Fabianski in goal, I'd go back for Cresswell, Dawson. If he's fit, I would go Ogbonna and Soufal. But obviously, if Ogbonna's not ready, then you got to put Diop in.
Do you put Ogbonna in though against Wolves, or do you leave it and then like sort of gradually get him back in? Or
if it was me, I would put him straight in.
Right,
I seriously would. Do I think if Ogbonna's fit? Do I think that David Moyes will? That I'm less certain about, but we'll see. But and then obviously the 2 holding midfielders pick themselves. I don't need to sort of say too more than that. Lingard, Bowen, and see, I would put Ben Rama in, but I could make a case for Fornals, and I think that is probably who David Moyes will go with. And then I think obviously Antonio goes up top because, quite frankly, who's going to challenge him for the striker position? That's the problem.
Yeah, and that is an issue, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? West Ham Online. Who do you think, mate? I'm going to go through a couple of comments while you are talking.
I've heard that Ogbonna is going to be out, so that's one. I think Diop will play, and I've said enough about his marking, how he couldn't mark a toddler spelling test these past few days, and Diop. So it will be disappointing, but you never know. He could have a great game against Wolves. It'll be interesting to see if Masuaku's fit, if we go back to that 5-back formation that worked so well against them last time, actually, because I think that was Masuaku's best game that I've seen him have for us. That Wolves game is absolutely brilliant. But I think we will.
But wouldn't you agree though? If he comes, just for argument's sake, he did come back in. Don't you see that as a negative though? Not as in like Masuaku. Like, I'm not a fan of Masuaku. I openly admit that. But do you think that sort of wing-back system, like, considering we played like a 4-2-3-1, a 4-2-3-1 system, and basically we look phenomenal for 32 minutes against Arsenal. If we go back, don't you think that's jeopardising our attack, so to speak?
Yeah, it depends how we shape the attack in front of it, because we've got to remember that 5-back formation was a lot different with Masuaku in it than Ben Johnson. We were so much more attacking.
True.
And we did link well with the midfield, and I think that was Fornal's best period of the season. I think he got 3 assists in 3 games, playing in the hole between the fullbacks and the striker. And I think Lingard would do brilliantly there as well. So I think at the moment, as you say, James, I'd stick with a 4-2-3-1, basically the same lineup that played against Arsenal. But yeah, it will be interesting. And if you want to, in a minute, I've got another name that I forgot about for the England squad.
Go on then, mate. Might as well fire it away to us while we're here.
Well, I'll let you guys guess it. He's got over 10 goals in all competitions this season. He's currently injured.
Cool. Look at now. 10 goals, currently injured. Abraham.
No.
Ain't Abraham. I've got no idea, mate. Mine's gone completely blank.
You're going to say it and we're going to go, oh, yeah.
Well, he was in the last squad and Southgate was saying he was going to be in this one. It's Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cruciate.
I like him. Good player.
Yeah. Going back to some comments here, when Masuaku's fit, he's probably be higher up the pecking order than Benrahma, and so is Fornal. So he's probably be on the bench for us from now on. Sadly,
I wouldn't
say. You know what? I mean, I do agree with Nick there. I think Benrahma will be the scapegoat. Yeah, I can see him being the one to sort of.
Yeah, I see what Nick's saying in Moyes' mind, but I don't think Masuaku's position affects Benrahma at all, really.
Do you
think it possibly could, depending on the formation that Moyes decides to go with. I think if he goes 3-5-2/5-3-2, then I think it could impact on Benrahma quite drastically. Yeah,
it depends if we play with the wingers. Because earlier in the season with the 5-back, you'd see us out on the wing quite a lot with someone in front of Masuaku. It will be interesting to see, as you say, if we play a narrow in front of Masuaku. I mean, Benrahma, Christ, he definitely won't be in the team, but that is one that, God, I really do want to see Benrahma play him.
So do I, mate. I think after what he'd done the other day, I wish we had people who could put the ball away, like, because he makes he will make you goals. Like my Brentford mate said to me, he said, James, this boy can make you goals, mate, but you just got to put them away, and that's the problem with us at the minute. But going back to the comments, Scott says, is it me or has Masuaku become a better player than he actually is within the fan base? I'm not buying this hype. I totally agree with Scott. I don't believe the hype on Masuaku. I never have done. Rob, what do you think, mate?
Let's get this out the way straight away. He's not a left back. Forget that. I think as a left wing back, he is decent enough. Not world class. I'm not saying he's a world beater or anything, but that would be the position I would put him in. If we were going to use Masuaku, it has to be as a left wing back. Any other formation, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, I don't really see where he fits in, quite honestly.
Yeah. West Ham Online?
I completely agree with the left back thing. I mean, Christ, he's shocking at defending. But I thought when he played wing back this season, I was really impressed with him. So, he is very dependent on formation. He's one of those players who I don't really think has the best position. I mean, he should probably be in the F2-3 siders, if I'm honest. But if he's going to play, it's going to be in that left wing back role. Otherwise, he's not going to be playing at all, is he?
Right, I'm going to ask you one question here. I'll start off with West Ham Online. Masuaku, is he in our squad next season? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think he will be. If we get Europe, especially, we'll need the depth and be able to fluctuate between numerous formations.
Rob?
100% agree. Yeah, if we make European football, I don't see that Moyes is going to get rid of him for exactly the reasons that West Ham Online's just articulated. Because obviously, if Moyes decides to go with wing-back formation, he's key to making it work.
Yeah, I agree. I must admit, Nick speaks a lot of sense, this lad, I must admit. He said, I'll sell Mazuaku in the summer and buy a similar player who knows how to defend. Do you know what? That's the one thing with me that I criticise him, because if you're going to play if you're going to play a 5 at the back or a 3-5, they have to know how to defend. That's why it becomes an issue there, because we've got players who've got speed and all that, but they can't defend. Do you know what I mean? So I do agree with Nick there. This is a good point.
I agree with the comment. If we could get what would be a fair price for Masuaku? 12 million quid, 15 million quid. If we could get that sort of money, if we got that sort of money and Moyes had earmarked someone that he could replace him with that was better and could defend, then I'd absolutely sell him. But as I say, it's something that I think Moyes would. I think Moyes rates him. That's the thing. Whether we rate him or not is neither here nor there. If Moyes rates him, and I suspect he does, then I don't think Masuaku's going anywhere.
I will give you a name right now who I would love at West Ham. Love. Plays for Norwich. Young Max Aarons. I think he's but it's the ambition of the club. Like, if you want these type of players, you've got to pay the money. And I think Max Aarons is a decent player. I really do. I would love him at West Ham. You know what I mean? Scott said a good point here. De Silva, the Brentford player, come out this week and said Benrahma is the best player he's played with. I'm sure he was at Arsenal, so this is high praise. That is correct, Scott. He was at Arsenal. West Ham Online. De Silva, what do you think of him at Brentford?
I'm a big fan of him. I watched Brentford quite a lot this season and last season, and that's why I became a big fan of Benrahma in the first place, and now I'm a big fan of Tony as well. And you've heard me say I want Tony as our striker at the club, and De Silva is a really good midfielder. I think the only time I've been unimpressed with him is, well, actually maybe impressed when he when he got that red card against Tottenham and he on Højbjerg. But apart from that, he's really technical, and he's one of those players who last season I was a bit, I was thinking surely Brentford can't have this many good players. I was watching him and he was playing really well, but I was saying their players can't be that good, because if they have 5 or 6 players who people are saying are Prem quality, the likes of Ollie Watkins, Said Benrahma, De Silva, Rico Henry, and there was like 4 or 5, 6 players, and they were coming below West Brom. I was thinking surely you can't have that and finish below West Brom, but I think what it is, James, is their manager is absolutely useless in my opinion. Brentford's manager,
Thomas Franks, isn't it? Thomas Franks.
Yeah. I think I mean the guy's baffling, and Brentford fans have really started to notice it lately with the way he bottled last season, the way he's bottling it again now. So De Silva, in my opinion, is a top talent, and I think he'll end up going Palace. I don't know why, but I think he will. They were linked before, and I think he'll end up going there.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I do agree with you there. Do you know what? I think it's make or break for Brentford this year. I really do. I think if they don't go up this season, then they lose everyone. They lose Rico Henry, they lose De Silva, they lose Tony. There's another player that they've got in their ranks. Forshaw, I think. I can't think of his name.
And they had Brian Mbeumo, who got like 20 goals, 15 assists last season.
That's it. Yeah, and they've got a centre half who's partnering Winston Reid, who's supposed to be quite decent and all.
Pinnock.
Pinnock, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pinnock. There's so many players, isn't it, that they're raving about, yet they're third. So you've got to blame the manager. I mean, Jesus.
So basically, lads, before we wrap it up, I just want to ask you, right, we've got Wolves next, and then we've got Leicester. it's two big games, isn't it? Like for our season, this is like, especially after the Arsenal game, and we've got to make sure that we come back in a positive mentality. Rob, I'm going to ask you, how many points do we get from them two, mate?
If we have serious ambitions about top 4, I'd say a minimum is 4 points.
4 points.
Minimum.
If we won a game and lost a game, would you be satisfied?
No.
Right. I like Rob. He's firm, but he's fair. West Ham Online. Who would you? What do you reckon, mate? Next two.
I'd take 4 points. 3 is completely out the running of top 4. I mean, if we get 3, we're waving goodbye to top 4. And I mean, even Europa League football then becomes ropey, and we don't want to be going into a final day debacle where it's us versus Tottenham for Europa League. You know, they're another ground we're playing Southampton, and I mean, we'd never hear the end of it from the Yid Army. So I think we've got to get at least 4 points from the next 2.
See, Scott just says this here. Here's a fault. Benrahma misses the fans. Could you imagine 60,000 getting behind him? 100%. 100%. But he's got to get on the pitch, though, Scott. That's the only problem. And at the minute, he's getting away with it. He's not getting away with it. He can't get on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
James, if you don't mind, can you tell us some more that your Brentford friend said about Benrahma that gives you hope and promise?
He turned around and said to me, he's a talent. He said, "You got what my friend said to me, and my girlfriend just commented there, and she knows him and all." And I spoke to him in like a messenger, and I said, "What's he like?" He said, "Jones, he's a talent, mate." He said, "Like he will make you goals left, right, and centre." And what he does, and he does it very well, is he pulls people out of the way. Like you beat a man, and then he'll take 2 people out of the way. It creates space. Now, if we can create space for the likes of Lingard, Bowen, Antonio, then that's brilliant for us, because especially Jesse Lingard, he runs into space, and that's perfect for us. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, the problem is he will make you goals, but you've got to put them away. If you look at if you go back and look at Brentford when he was at Brentford, the assists he was making, he always used to beat a couple of players, and then the space would open up, and then it was either a ball down the side or a ball across the box, or it's always something along that line. He scored goals at Brentford from what when I was watching him. He scored goals, but he was never a prolific goal scorer. He's not going to go and score you 15 goals. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, I would have a shout that he would make you 15 goals if we had a proven striker finishing. And Lingard, if Lingard signs next season and Benrahma's going to be in the team, I would have money on Benrahma creating or assisting 15 goals next year, easily. Do you know what I mean? Like you've only got to look at the Crystal Palace game, the Arsenal game, how many assists that he could make. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's and what he does. When I look at him, and I don't want people to think I'm mad, nothing, but he plays a bit like Hazard used to play. He's got low centre of gravity, and he drifts past people with ease. Do you know what I mean?
They were calling him the Championship Neymar, weren't they, before he joined us?
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player. And I think what we need, as I've said it on here, and I've said it on Fortune Mayans with Rob, go follow them, is basically...
Checks in the post, James.
He's basically that. He's a decent lad. He's a top player, and we need to use him to our advantage. And using him from the bench isn't a good thing. But yeah.
And the other thing, James, is the fact that he's one of those players who I think when he scores and when he starts to scoring and assisting, he'll just never stop. I think with Brentford in his first season, he really struggled contribution-wise, but he was still showing a lot of promising signs. And then the second season, it just seemed to click as soon as he got that first goal. And he's just one of them players. He's become one of our scapegoats, if you like. I pick 3 who are our main scapegoats. Him, this is on social media, by the way, Fornells, and Antonio. whether you agree with them three or not is a different question. I think he's become one of those players where people nowadays are stat merchants. You know, I think a player could dribble past every single player in the team 50 times a game, set up 50 one-on-ones, yet you'd have the stat merchants on Twitter coming out and saying, he's absolutely terrible. And it's just how it is nowadays.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he's as terrible as that voice, then we're in trouble. But now, listen, in all seriousness, before we wrap it up, mate, he's a good player. And West Ham, if you ever go on the Hammers chat and have a look at Gio's interview with a scout, they was looking at him in Nice when he was at Nice, and they could have picked him up for peanuts by the sounds of it. I think
$1.5 million, I think I heard, wasn't it?
Yeah, $1.5 million, and they was trying to get him over. And I can't remember who it was at the time, but someone said he weren't good enough.
I think it was because I think Jed was the guy that that Gio was interviewing. I'm pretty sure he was under Sam Allardyce's reign, so it would have been Big Sam.
Yeah,
which I'm not being funny. I sort of look at that and go, really?
Yeah, I know. It baffles me. But on that note, gents, I'm going to wrap it up now. It's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone who's been in the chat today, thank you for watching, commenting and everything. It's much appreciated. It makes the show go along much better. And your thoughts count as much as our thoughts. So, Rob is at Forge from Irons. Follow it on Twitter, Facebook. I'll put the link in. And
and those of you that are watching, that thing it says at the bottom, like, comment and subscribe. Yeah, that's what you need to do. Give the video a thumbs up. Put your comments down below. Tell your friends.
Yeah,
you know the drill.
It all goes a long way, and it helps us out greatly, mate. So follow Rob on there, and him and Duke are doing some good stuff on there, I must admit. And I look forward to. You'll probably see me on there at some point, and West Ham Online also. West Ham Online does a podcast. It's on Spotify. It's the Who podcast. Does a lot of good stuff. Meets a lot of new people, and he caught up with AFTV recently and had a chat about the Arsenal West Ham game. So he's doing good stuff and all, mate.
Yeah.
And so basically, it's been a pleasure, gents. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Quickly do a quick promo, Joe, before we end it. If I could quickly do a quick promo for you. I was just going to say, for the people watching, I think me, you, Gatesy, Duke, I think we've spent about 250 hours in the last week on these calls, and I've really enjoyed it. Me and you were talking yesterday about how when lockdown's over, we're going to do a call from the zoo.
Yeah, but you keep on saying it. Rob will be in your DMs, mate. Yeah, Rob will be in your DMs.
Those of you that are watching that haven't got the faintest idea what he's on
about,
you're going to have to go. No, you're going to have to go on to Forge from Iron, and you're going to have to look at what was it? Was it the post match? Wasn't it?
Yeah,
or the pre-match for the Arsenal game.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah, pre-match. We were looking at the lineups and everything.
Yeah, go to the pre-match video for the Arsenal game and whiz forward to around about the last 10 minutes or so, and it just degenerates. And I got in so much trouble with the missus for that. So if you want to know what West Ham Online's on about, like I say, that's where you want to look.
That's it, mate. I appreciate the boys coming on. So it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Rob. It's goodbye from West Ham Online. Take care, everyone. All the best, and I'll catch up again with you soon. Take care.